Hey everyone, excited to be back for this week's edition of Frequently Asked Questions for Commercial Real Estate. In today's video, what I want to do is talk about something that is extremely pertinent, especially if you're in the commercial brokerage space and getting started in the space, and that is how do you properly vet startup clients that you begin to work with. Now, the reason why this is so important is because when you first start in the brokerage business, you kind of just start working with whoever comes through the door. But a lot of times, especially if you're an eager person and you really want to help people, is that you start working with people who are not necessarily the best people to work with because they don't have all their ducks in a row before you start working with them. Therefore, you may be spinning your wheels and they'd also be wasting their time as well. And so hopefully this video is going to be helpful to you if you are new to the brokerage space. And then also if you're an entrepreneur looking to start a business, these are some of the things you need to consider before you even start working with a commercial agent so they can help get you in a space that fits your needs. So if you like this video before we dive into this video, I would greatly appreciate it if you can like and subscribe to this channel. It really helps with the YouTube algorithm and ensures more and more people can hear this message and learn about the many facets of commercial real estate. So now that you've done that, go ahead and like and subscribe below. Let's go ahead and dive right into this episode. All right, so in today's episode, we're going to talk about the 3 things that you need to consider before you start working with a startup as it pertains to helping them identify space for their business use. Again, now the reason why we should do this, in particular when you first start off, is that you set expectations for the process moving forward, and it helps save the time of the business owner because maybe they're just not ready to be able to take on the responsibility of executing a lease or purchase of a commercial building. And it also saves you time as a broker to make sure that you're not, working with someone for months and months and months and months and months, and it's never going to become anything worthwhile. So the 3 things we're going to talk about today are as follows. First is you have to determine whether or not they actually need a space. There's a lot of business concepts out there that don't necessarily require you to commit to a 3 to 5 year lease. If you are a startup that's looking to do something in technology or IT, you may just be more beneficial popping up in a Starbucks or doing a co-working space where you rent a private office for a certain amount of time. You don't necessarily need to have a large corporate office to be able to do whatever you need to do within your business. Along with that, maybe if you're starting to work with a aspiring restaurateur, starting off on the catering side may be more beneficial, in which case you rent out space in a commercial kitchen or you rent a food truck and commit to the proof of concept, raise some funds, and then from there you can seek out space for your own business. So those are some of the things you need to consider is number 1, do you need the space to begin with? And really sitting down and analyzing whether or not that's the case is a good starting point for any business owner and ultimately commercial agent. Number 2 is if they're a startup, do they have a clear understanding of their business plan or what they plan to do when they actually commit to the space? I've had many situations in the past where I've worked with people that have an idea of something that they would like to do, but then they haven't put pen to paper to determine whether or not it's actually going to be feasible for them to be able to execute on that business plan. And if you don't have an understanding of what your revenue is going to look like, some of the expenses that are coming down the pike, what you're going to have to charge for your product or service in order to make sure that you cover all your bills, it's going to be very difficult for a commercial agent to then say, okay, what is your budget going to look like? What are some of the terms and commitments that you're willing to take on? Because you yourself don't necessarily know what that is. So number 2 thing to consider is that you need to have a clear understanding of what the business plan is going to look like, or at least have an idea of what the executables are going to be when you hit the ground running and you sign a lease at a commercial space. So that's number 2. And then number 3 is to determine, do they have if they have reserves in place. Starting a business can be very capital intensive. In particular, if you're starting or you're working towards building a clientele. And so usually what I recommend startups do is that they have at least 6 months of reserves in place to account for the fact that it's going to take them a while to, they're going to have to buy all the material. They're going to have to, have some working capital to pay staff potentially. They're going to have to work towards building up demand in their product or service. And that in and of itself is going to take many months to complete. So having at least 6 months of reserves in place to account for your rent expense, all your building related expenses, any working capital you're going to need, and also paying staff is going to be crucial to make sure that you're going to hit the ground running as it pertains to making sure your business is going to be successful. So those are 3 things you need to consider prior to start working with a commercial real estate agent. If you're a business owner looking to do this, these are the things you need to consider, because it's going to save you a ton of time, and it's also going to save the commercial agent a ton of time. And ultimately, it's going to make sure that when you start identifying properties that could be a good fit for you, you're able to execute quickly and get into a space so now you can continue and grow your business and achieve the American dream. So hope you gained some value from this video. I would greatly appreciate it if you can like and subscribe to the channel. It really helps the YouTube algorithm and ensures more and more people can hear this message. Along with that, if you want to hear cool or more interesting topics pertaining to commercial real estate, send me an email. I'm always grateful to hear from you guys, and I love hearing questions from you all so that I can create unique and great content on a weekly basis. So thank you all again for tuning in, and we'll see you all next time.